Hello everyone, Rahul here and welcome to our channel Doctors to Be, where you find video tutorials that help you better understand topics that you learn in your medical school. So now let's get started with today's topic, and today we shall discuss about the metabolic disorders of bone. After we discussed about peak bone mass and factors influencing bone formation and bone resorption, we shall discuss about the metabolic disorders of bone. And our first disorder is osteopenia and osteoporosis. So let's get started. Metabolic disorders of bones. So first disease is osteopenia and osteoporosis. Okay, so we'll discuss about osteopenia and osteoporosis. So first of all, we'll shall discuss about the introduction about these two diseases. So first is introduction. So osteopenia is defined as the decreased bone mass. Okay, osteopenia is defined as decreased bone mass, and osteoporosis refers to the bone decrease in bone mass that is enough to significantly increase the risk of fractures. Okay, so osteopenia is decreased bone mass, while osteoporosis is osteopenia severe enough to increase the risk of fracture. Okay, and radiographically, uh, at least 2.5 bone mass, at least 2.5 standard deviation below the peak bone mass is known as osteoporosis, while 1 to 2.5 below the peak bone mass is known as osteopenia. Okay, so we'll write that point also. Radiographically, this one is much more important or much more beneficial. Okay, radiographically, this will help you to general concept about osteopenia and osteoporosis, and this is the radiographical definition. Okay, radiographically, bone mass at least 2.5 standard deviation. Okay, standard deviation below ST standard deviation. Okay, below peak bone mass is osteoporosis, and 1 to 2.5. Okay, 1 to 2.5 below peak bone mass is osteopenia. Okay, it can be secondary, it can be primary and secondary. Primary, mostly it is primary, and is of two forms, that is postmenopausal and senile form, while secondary it is due to the hyperparathyroidism, corticosteroids and malnutrition. Okay, so can be primary or secondary. Secondary due to hyperparathyroidism, okay, secondly due to hyperparathyroidism, malnutrition, okay, this is hyperparathyroidism, okay, malnutrition, or corticosteroids, okay, etc., or corticosteroids. And it has the primary, as it is mostly primary and has two forms, okay, senile and it has two forms, senile and postmenopausal. So now let's discuss about pathogenesis. And before discussing about these two forms, senile and postmenopausal, let's revise about the peak bone mass. In previous videos, we have discussed that peak bone mass is a set point, and various factors play a role in attaining of this peak bone mass. Okay, so let's discuss once again, and then we'll move towards these two forms. Okay, so peak bone mass. So and various factors like this is attained and early adulthood. This we have already discussed in the earlier previous videos, and you can find the previous videos in the playlist name metabolic disorders of bones. Okay, and I'll also include the link to those videos if you have not watched the previous videos. So peak bone mass attained at early adulthood, and factors influencing the attaining of the peak bone mass are exercise. What are the factors? Those calcium intake, yes or no? Polymorphism in genes, even hormonal state also plays a role, has influence in the attaining of the peak bone mass. Okay, so now after we know about the peak bone mass, we shall come to the cause two forms. They are the senile and the osteoporosis, sorry, postmenopausal osteoporosis and senile osteoporosis. First let's discuss about the senile osteoporosis. So senile osteoporosis is mainly due to aging, and but there are other various causes. So let's discuss about those causes one by one. So first is the aging. So aging decreases the physical exercise. Aging decreases physical exercise. Yes or no? So by decrease of physical exercise, decreased physical exercise, due to aging, the replicative property or the replicative activity of the osteoprogenitor cells also decreases. Okay, so decreased replicative activity of osteoprogenitor cells. Okay, and aging also decreases the synthetic activity of the osteoblast. Now when the synthetic activity of osteoblast decreases, then bone formation cannot keep up with the bone resorption, which will lead to osteoporosis. Yes or no? So decreased osteoblastic activity, that is the synthetic activity of decreased synthetic activity of the osteoblasts. Okay, osteoblasts also results in osteoporosis. Okay, and aging also decreases the activity of matrix bound growth factors. Okay, as we discussed while discussing about the systemic factors influencing the attaining of the peak bone mass, we also told that growth factors like bone morphogenic proteins also have influence the attaining of the peak bone mass. So these growth factors, matrix bound growth factors, activity of these growth factors also decrease due to aging. Okay, so decrease, I am writing the last point over here. Okay, don't get confused. Decreased activity of matrix bound growth factors. Okay, so these are some of the causes, these are the reasons, these are some of the reasons why aging causes may lead to the senile osteoporosis. Okay, we have other factors, other causes. So after discussing about the first factor, that is aging, which causes osteoporosis, the next factor is genetic defects. Okay, and while discussing about in the previous videos, in previous video we discussed that WNT proteins are a set of proteins that bind to the LRP5 and LRP6 receptors, and they stimulate the expression of osteoprotein, yes or not? And this osteoprotein will block the rank and rank ligand interaction, which decreases the number of osteoclasts, decreasing osteoclastic activity. So genetic defects in genes encoding for LRP5 LRP6 receptors, or defect in these receptors, that LRP5 LRP6 receptors, can account for osteoporosis. Okay, so LRP5 LRP6 mutations accounts for osteoporosis. Okay, that's why I discussed about these factors, these receptors, in two videos before, in first two videos, so that you can have continuation and better understanding about these factors. Okay, so if you have not watched, you can watch, the link is in the description. And the other causes may be decreased calcium intake. Okay, decreased calcium intake, or you can also write nutritional status. So what happens is, the adolescents, as we know, the peak bone mass is attained in early adulthood. Okay, the peak bone mass is attained in early adulthood, and the adolescents have less tendency to fulfill their calcium demand, the calcium demand of the body. They tend to have less calcium intake, less dietary intake of calcium, and which hinders the attaining of the peak bone mass, yes or no? So that may also lead to osteoporosis. So decreased calcium intake hinders attainment of peak bone mass, yes or no? Bone mass, and decreased calcium levels, increased parathyroid hormone, and decreased vitamin D. These factors play a role or influence the development of senile osteoporosis. Okay, second point, decreased calcium, increased parathyroid hormone, decreased vitamin D play a role in development of senile osteoporosis. Okay, we discussed about the mechanism behind the senile osteoporosis. Now let's come to the postmenopausal osteoporosis. Postmenopausal osteoporosis. Okay, so what happens is that after the menopause, the level of estrogen decreases. Okay, serum estrogen level decreases, and this decrease in serum estrogen increases both bone formation and bone resorption, but the bone formation cannot keep up with the increased bone resorption, which causes high turnover osteoporosis. Okay, so let's discuss about this. So first is postmenopausal osteoporosis. Okay, so I'll start the discussions from here, mechanism from here. Postmenopausal osteoporosis, what happens is there is decreased serum estrogen. After menopause, there is decreased serum estrogen, and this decrease in the serum estrogen is leading to the decreased serum estrogen leads to increased bone formation, increased bone formation plus also increased bone resorption. Okay, it is not that only bone resorption is increased, both bone formation and bone resorption is increased. Okay, but what happens, the bone formation cannot keep up with the bone resorption. Okay, but bone formation can't keep up with resorption, leading to high turnover osteoporosis. Okay, high turnover osteoporosis, bone turnover. Okay, osteoporosis. So this point became quite long, so sorry for that. So now this serum estrogen is not only increasing both bone formation, bone formation, increasing the bone formation and bone resorption, both bone formation and bone resorption are increased, but bone formation cannot keep with the resorption, which leads to the high turnover osteoporosis. Okay, and this menopause is decreasing the serum estrogen level. Now this decrease in serum estrogen level along with increasing in bone resorption and formation also causes cytokine recruitment. Okay, cytokine recruitment by OPG. What is OPG? Osteoprotein. Yes or no? We discussed in the previous videos. Cytokine recruitment by by decreased osteoprotein expression. Okay, by decreased OPG expression. So as we discussed in the systemic effects or systemic factors influencing peak bone mass, was that parathyroid hormones and cytokines like interleukin 1, interleukin 6, these promote the osteoclastic differentiation, causing to or leading to high turnover. Yes or no? So when there is cytokine recruitment due to decreased OPG expression, what happens? The levels of interleukin 1, interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factors levels increase. Okay, levels increase, and these factors, what they do, they increase or they cause. So okay, let's write over there. They cause osteoclastic differentiation. Okay, they cause osteoclastic differentiation, and there is also increased rank and rank L expression, rank ligand expression. Okay, so where do I write that? Okay, I'll write it over here. Osteoclastic, then increased rank. What is rank? We discussed in the previous video. Rank is transmembrane receptor activator of NF-κB, and there is rank ligand, increased rank and rank ligand expression. Yes or no? Which causes increased osteoclastic activity. So finally what happens is, due to increase in osteoclastic activity, there is osteoporosis, which leads to osteoporosis. Okay, so this is the mechanism behind the postmenopausal osteoporosis. Okay, let's discuss once again. Postmenopausal osteoporosis, the decrease in the menopause decreases the serum estrogen level, and which has two effects, that is increased bone formation and increased bone resorption. But the bone formation cannot keep up with the bone resorption, causing high turnover osteoporosis. Decreased serum estrogen levels also causes cytokine recruitment by decreased expression of OPG. There is increased interleukin 1. When there is cytokine recruitment, there is increased interleukin 1, interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factor levels. This increased levels causes osteoclastic differentiation, we discussed earlier, and decreased OPG expression increases the rank and rank ligand expression. Yes or no? If what in previous videos we discussed that osteoprotein blocks the interaction between rank and rank ligand, but decreased expression of this OPG is increasing the rank and rank ligand expression. Yes or no? And interaction between them, when there is more rank and more rank ligand then expression, then there will be interaction between the rank and rank ligand, which causes differentiation of osteoclast, and which will increase the osteoclastic activity. And finally, increased rank and rank ligand expression, which is finally increasing the osteoclastic activity. Okay, this is osteoclastic activity, which is finally increasing the osteoclastic activity. And as we all know, increase in osteoclastic activity will cause osteoporosis. So this is the mechanism behind the postmenopausal osteoporosis. So guys, in the next video we shall discuss about the clinical course of osteoporosis and treatment, along with the morphology and treatment. Okay, treatment we used two drug in treatment. Generally bisphosphonates and denosumab are used for treatment. We'll discuss in the next video. So if you like the video, if you are studying medicine and the video is helpful for you, please subscribe to the channel for more videos. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.